Hello.
Hello.
Values are the hardest thing to actually draw out and reflect an organization, but also the most critical. How do we actually keep the magic of that founder's vision and values that people actually remember? And that's through leadership, through role modeling, through behaviors, through storytelling, through legacy. So I thought that entire notion of being driven by purpose and values to particularly resonate with me and for us as we are building a multi-generational business.
One of the interesting things this morning was the concept of ownership. And it really got me thinking because, yes, that's right. It is not just maybe the family that are owners of the business, but the employees are co-owners, your stakeholders, your communities, everyone you come into contact with has an ownership stake in the business.
And that is something that you can apply even in the work that I do. I work in the climate change space, and you're really trying to leave the world in a better place than you found it.
When you do things that are not necessarily what people think is the most profitable right away, it doesn't mean it's not sustainable. The most important thing is that I think you remember your purpose, and for us, it's really nation building.
There was a comment today earlier that, you're either the one bringing the disruptive technology or you're the one being disturbed in a way by these advances. So it's either or, and we can't really afford to be the one being disturbed by these advances.
I think one of our priorities as Next Gen is to create an adaptive and resilient workforce and company, because the pace of disruption, it's always been happening, but the pace of it is exponential at this moment.
Well, I think my dad's a very informal guy, so there's really no, hey, this is the lesson to learn. There's no such thing. But I think one thing he's always taught us is really loyalty and trust, to trust the people you're with and make sure that they can trust you as well. And I think it has shown that if you give people trust, that, they'll return that trust back.
I think the principle talking about doing good, doing well, and doing right really stood out, because that summarizes first the role of business, but also its role in keeping sustainability as its top agenda.
When you see, influential leaders embracing stewardship and making commitments to not just my generation, but holding themselves accountable to future generations, it becomes something to be hopeful for. It also becomes something that you truly want to be a part of.
I think the word to describe my experience in the family business was baptism by fire. He just really put me in the deep end. You better survive. You need to survive. I'll keep an eye, but you need to do your own thing. So it's really me being able to really learn from the challenges and also not be afraid to make mistakes. And I'm being blessed that I have 2 sons right now. So that's always a dilemma, saying how do you make sure that, these 2 sons can work together and really being able to create stewardship for the family and for the business as well.
I believe that stewardship is the realization of the positive impact you have in whatever context you exist in, and not just to the current context, but to future ones as well.
How do we still empower them, inspire them, steward them? That is our leadership responsibility, and that won't change 20 years from now.
Really learning from the experiences, learning from the challenges, learning from a different perspective, because your own perspective might not always be the correct one.
I realize I'm lucky in the sense that I work in a company that takes stewardship seriously.
And that ownership value, it's going to be aligned with those stewardship principles that we have long imparted. Family asset owners still will continue that stewardship legacy.